friends, welcome to another Social Emotional Learning Read Aloud with Mrs. Lofties. Let's start how we always do with our Come to the Group song. Everybody come sit down, come sit down, come sit down. Everybody come sit down, just like me. Everybody clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands, just like me. Everybody pat your knees, pat your knees, pat your knees. Everybody pat your knees, just like me. Everybody wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Everybody wave your hands and let them quiet be. Very good, friends. You know what comes next. Let's do our listening rule song one time so you remember what to do with your bodies while I'm reading the story. Eyes are watching, ears are listening, voices quiet, bodies calm. This is how we listen, this is how we listen at group time, at group time. Very good, friends. So this week we've been talking about how we can invite friends to play with us, how we can show friends that we want to play. Being super friends is really important. It's a big thing we've been learning this year. Today, I have another story about a fish, but this fish is a little bit different. Remember last week we read a story called Rainbow Fish, and Rainbow Fish had all these beautiful shimmering scales, but at first, he was not a super friend. He was not playing together. He was not using kind words. He was not sharing. And he had nobody to play with. This fish is the opposite. This fish is not beautiful. His name is Big Al. He is a super friend, though. This is the story about how all the other little fish learned that it doesn't matter what you look like, you can really be a super friend. It matters how you treat others. The story is called Big Al, and it's written by Andrew Clements. He's the author. He wrote all the words to this story. The pictures, or the beautiful paintings in this book, are done by Yoshi. He is the illustrator. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Al. You could not find a friendlier fish. But Big Al was also very, very scary. The other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many, but Big Al had none. He was lonely. Can you make a lonely face with Big Al? Remember, lonely means you don't have anybody to talk to or anybody to play with. He did not really blame the other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust such a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like his? So Big Al was lonely, and he cried big salty tears into the big salty sea. Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First, he tried wrapping himself up with seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise, but nobody else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant that has big sharp teeth? Then he thought that if he puffed himself up like a great round ball, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he was. But all they saw was how big he was, and they steered clear. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom, and he flopped and he wiggled himself into the sand until he was almost covered up. He looked much smaller that way, When the other fish came near, Big Al joked and talked with them and had a delightful time. But then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills, and he achoo! When the clouds of the sand cleared away, all the other fish were gone. It scared them. Big Al even changed his color one day so that he could look like he belonged to a school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was one of the crowd. But he was so big and clumsy that when the tiny little fish darted quickly to the left and back to the right, Big Al just plowed straight ahead. He went bumping and thumping right into the little fish. Before he could even say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, it was an accident," they were gone, and he was all alone again, even sadder than ever. Just when Big Al was starting to be sure that he would never have a single friend, something happened. He was floating sadly along, watching some of the smaller fish and wishing that they would come closer. As he watched, a net dropped down silently from above, and in an instant, they were caught. Oh no, they look scared. Can you make a scared face with them? Big Al forgot all about being lonely. He forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever, and with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and he charged straight at the net. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and all the little fish rushed out the hole. Wow, he saved them. Remember, helping is one way that you can show friends that you're a super friend and you'd like to play with them and be their friend. Oh no. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go out of the hole, he got all tangled up in the net. He was stuck. The net went higher and higher and higher toward the bright surface of the sea, and the little fish watched as Big Al disappeared above them. Oh no. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was the huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great to be free, but what a shame that the big fellow was gone. Then there was a tremendous crashing splash above them, and the small fish dashed away. Was it the net again? They were scared. But it wasn't the net. Not at all. It was Big Al. Those fishermen took one look at him and threw him right back into the sea. He was not the kind of fish that they were fishing for. And now there's one huge, puffy, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else. Can you guess who it is? You're right. It's Big Al. Look at Big Al smile. And look at all the other fishes smile. They are all friends together. When Big Al helped save them from the net, they were finally able to see what a super friend he was. These little fish learned an important lesson. They learned it does not matter what another fish looks like. It matters how they act, how they treat people. It matters if they're a super friend. And that is the end. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. It is one of my very favorites. Today, I would love if you can leave a video and tell me if you were a fish and you saw a big owl looking all lonely in the sea, what would you do? What would you say to him? Show me how you can be a super friend. See you next time.